Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Wendy. I'm with Murdock Escorted Tours, and we're grateful that you have found this webinar that we're doing today. We are absolutely thrilled to introduce you to an amazing tour that we've got going to New Zealand. It's an adventure filled with breathtaking landscapes, rich culture, and a once-in-a-lifetime experience with one of our favorite guests. I say guest, but tour guides, Tim Taggart. You're still a guest, Tim, even though we have got such a wonderful long history together. But I love that your tours are always so full of adventure and that you still have got this zest for traveling. And I think I'm excited to see your presentation here of New Zealand and just imagine myself in that energy that, going through Auckland, that's where the city meets the seas before venturing into the rolling countrysides and just feeling the spirit of New Zealand come alive as we experience the heart of the Māori culture. I mean, complete with memorizing the haka performances and traditional music. I think on this tour, you'll show us how you can stand in awe before the geothermal wonders. I wasn't even going to get that one out right. That's in Rotorua. Am I saying that right?
Rotorua. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then going to the icy blue splendor of the glaciers. Oh, you know what? This tour just sounds like it has got so much visual sight. So whether you're drawn to vibrant cities, dramatic landscapes, cultural connections, I think you're going to see all of that in this presentation. So with that, Tim Taggart, thank you again for joining us. For anybody who is not familiar with you, however, would you give us a brief introduction of yourself and maybe your background? And then I'm just going to let you jump right into the tour.
It was really wonderful for me to be able to be with you, Wendy, and to chat a little bit about this fabulous experience in New Zealand. I first went to New Zealand almost 50 years ago. It's an important place in our family with so many connections with missionaries and others, and such a fabulous place. I started out my career teaching seminary up in Grace, Idaho, then spent after about 6.5 years, came down to produce media for the church, for seminaries and institutes, and then spent my career in audiovisual for the church. And since retirement, I've been actually traveling since 1983 doing tours. So I've been around for a long time, but I just love it. So,
That reminded me, because I was going to say, when did you get your travel bug? Was it when you were traveling for your church assignments? But I forgot it was with the family business.
Well, my first trip to Israel was in 1981, and that did it for me. I knew I had to get back. And when we moved to Salt Lake, my uncle owned Beehive Travel. And so I hit him up and started doing church history and Israel trips. And I've been doing trips all over the world ever since.
Oh, and we are so blessed for it. So,
well, let's take you through this wonderful experience that we're going to have in New Zealand. It's just a marvelous experience. You can see by this overview, so many fabulous places. I'm going to move kind of quickly. This tour sees so many things. Here's kind of an overview I put together. We fly into Auckland, go down to Rotorua, and then from Rotorua fly down to Christchurch, then down to Queenstown, and back up to Christchurch to fly home. So let's start on the North Island as we arrive in Auckland. Auckland is a fabulous city, modern, beautiful, but the most green and gorgeous setting. You can see the Sky Tower in the center of town, bougainvilleas, flowers everywhere, the harbor bridge. It's just the most incredible setting. And we have a marvelous experience in Auckland, including the waterfront. We get to see the fabulous beaches. we actually visit the Sky Tower, have an opportunity to eat up there, and you can look at the bungee jumping. There's a walk. You walk out overlooking this huge drop with safety harnesses. You can do bungee jumping there too.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and we see that a couple of places on this trip. We see some of the areas in the surrounding areas, small towns, quaint, so cool shopping opportunities, the botanical gardens. And then we head down from Auckland down towards Hamilton. Then we go over to Hobbiton and over to Rotorua. The Hamilton area is famous for Latter-day Saints because of the Hamilton Temple. It was one of the first 13 temples, and so is very familiar to Latter-day Saints. We get an opportunity to stop by on the outside, and it's just, the setting is so green and gorgeous. And then, of course, one of I'm most excited about on this tour is Hobbiton. I've not been able to go here before. This is where much of the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings trilogy was filmed, and this has become a major tourist area. We get to go in the wonderful tavern and have the other experiences of Middle Earth. That is just fantastic. Then we travel towards Rotorua, which is one of the coolest places because of the geothermal activity and also the cultural center really in New Zealand. It's a beautiful city. Again, water everywhere, but the hot springs, the geysers, it's very similar to what you've seen in Yellowstone in some ways, but just incredible, beautiful beaches.
You don't see that in Yellowstone.
No, you don't see that in Yellowstone. Just warm and beautiful, the ocean everywhere. As we travel down through the area of Waitomo, down where the Middle Earth area is, the green is just fabulous, so beautiful. And we go to the Waitomo glowworm caves, which is so memorable. You go inside, it's like a starry night, and these worms glowing, luminescent in the cave. Get to go through a little boat on the river inside the dark caverns. It's just astounding. And we head back to Rotorua for the night, and I have experiences again with the hot springs, the geysers, and it's pretty fabulous and so scenic, photogenic. You'll have so many beautiful pictures.
You're not going to know which ones to put on the cover of your album.
Exactly. One of the highlights is the Indigenous evening experience with the Maoris. That's just fabulous, with the haka dance, the Maori warriors, and the famous haka. Even BYU football does it. I had two uncles that served missions in New Zealand, and we're always doing the haka dance to entertain friends and family. But this will be a really super experience.
I was just going to say, seeing it done at BYU and then seeing it done in New Zealand, very different experiences.
Truly. And you get such a flavor of the Maori people, which are such a marvelous people. And one of the great things is you get to have a Maori feast. Holy mackerel, you'll never forget this. It will be so wonderful. In fact, they often cooked their food traditionally in the geysers, boiling their food in the geysers. Just kind of fun. We get to do a gondola ride up onto the mountain, which will be just beautiful, the scenery. Then we go over to a redwood forest. You have an opportunity to walk through this fabulous redwood forest, so beautiful. We have similar in California. Again, not like this. It's just beautiful.
That is breathtaking.
Yeah. And the city itself is so gorgeous. Flowers everywhere. From Rotorua, we fly down to Christchurch and have an experience. This, again, what a beautiful setting. The ocean is everywhere in New Zealand. Again, it's an island, so both sides. And the setting for Christchurch is just spectacular. It's such a beautiful place. And then the city itself is so quaint and fun and interesting. You'll just love Christchurch. and its setting. Just so beautiful. And it's just fabulous. And then we take one of the great experiences that you'll ever have traveling, and that's the Transalpine Scenic Train across the island to Greymouth. So we go across, you can see, we go to the west from the South Pacific Ocean over to the west side. And this train has been called the world's most scenic. And the area that we go through is just spectacular as we ride in complete with beautiful picture windows, looking out on this scenery as we go across the valleys and the rivers over to Greymouth. And when we get to Greymouth on the west side, then we head south to the Franz Josef Glacier, and we stayed there for the night. But again, the scenery that you're going to see on this trip, I don't know how you match it anywhere. The variety, and it's so fabulous. This is the Franz Josef Glacier.
Wow.
You can see it up at the top of that valley. It's on two sides. Again, everything
That's adorable.
so scenic. You can see the glacier in the distance coming down. Just fantastic. What a beautiful location. We'll visit Thunder Creek Falls. We'll see as we pass along this highway. We go through Haas Pass. Again, everywhere we go is like scenic wonderland. We drive down the coast on the west side and just amazing waterfalls, greenery. At Lake Wanaka, this tree, you'll see like 2 or 3 pictures. This is the symbol of Lake Wanaka. But again, with the mountains coming up, beautiful water. It's just an amazing place, and so many pictures. One of the things I love to do, of course, is take photos. I always share my photos with everybody on the group, and it's one of the pleasures I have. But being able to take wonderful photographs and make memories, it's really a neat part of it. So Lake Wanaka, it will be a memory that you'll never forget. We head, excuse me, to the little town of Cromwell on the way. Some of these towns are so quaint and so interesting. From Lake Wanaka, we head down to Queenstown. Again, the setting is spectacular. The beautiful bay with the mountains rising out of it. Look at that. It's just spectacular. After our night in Queenstown, we head over to Milford Sound, which is a beautiful sound there on the west coast of New Zealand. We get to do a cruise out on the water, again with scenery that is so spectacular, it's hard to even imagine. To be able to be in the midst of these beautiful mountains with the ocean, the bay, the fjords there, as we travel in comfort with good food and good company to see some of the most scenic places you've ever seen in your life. From our visit back in Queenstown, then we head up north. We visit this quaint little town, Aotearoa it's called. It's kind of this neat little historical place with wonderful shopping, really cute and quaint.
I love that picture that you had with those fall colors in there.
Yeah, really spectacular. And these places are there's so much variety. In Queenstown, we get to even watch the bungee jumping. There's a bungee jump. You're not required to do this, but we have an opportunity to watch.
Too bad.
Does that look spectacular or what?
Oh, so fun.
I look forward to taking pictures. I don't look forward to doing it. It will be fun, and we also have lunch there. But talk about spectacular. Then we do this lake cruise, which is really neat on the TSS Earnshaw. And we go out and we have this barbecue dinner at this farm. So you go out on Lake Wakatipu, and beautiful. Look at this lake. And as we go out on the boat across this lake, we come to this beautiful area, and it's a farm. So it's the Walter Peak High Country Farm on Lake Wakatipu. And at this farm, we have an experience where they show us how the sheepdogs work the sheep and how the farm works. And so you have this whole farm experience. You can see some of the sheep are a little different. This is a llama. And then they feed you this fabulous barbecue. And then we head back across the lake and continue on up to Lake Tekapu. And visiting Cromwell on the way, again, a small little town that's just in the most scenic and beautiful location. Again, really quaint and kind of old historical village with wonderful shopping and just a great experience together.
That looks like an old Western town.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because the settlement of these places, a lot of it was during that same period, back in the 1850s and 60s. And then we come to Mount Cook, which is one of you see it because it's so tall. You see it from everywhere. It's just fabulous. This is the lake, though, that's right there at its base. It's so beautiful. These pictures are just spectacular. And I expect we'll have pictures that will rival these as we visit. And we do a boat cruise on the Tasman Glacial Lake. So there's a lake there. We do a little boat cruise out to the glaciers on this lake that are just spectacular. Again, imagine quiet. So you're in the quiet. You get to go out to see the gorgeous glacier lakes with Mount Cook rising in the background. Just a marvelous experience. I can't wait. After this, we head north, back up to Christchurch. Again, stopping at Lake Tekapu. We stay the night there and enjoy this beautiful scenery on the way up. South Canterbury, this area is so fabulous. You see the meandering river, the bridges across. We stop at the boutique village of Geraldine. Again, these cute little country villages that are historical, so fun, neat little shopping places, good lunch stops, and then head back up to Christchurch. Again, some fabulous settings.
Excuse me.
As we finish our tour, we have a bit of time in Christchurch, but then we finish up and we head out to the airport and we're on our way home. With so many memories that really will last a lifetime.
I was going to say, I wonder if there'll be more memories or more pictures, because
I find that my pictures help solidify the memories. It also helps to have kind of sequential idea of the way everything happens, so that you keep things.
Exactly. You have to go back through your picture reel to remember everything that you see. So what I was going to say, Tim, is maybe, I know you've done a lot of cruises to different areas, Panama Canal, Mediterranean, and different things like that. How would you compare a tour like this, where it's really in-depth New Zealand, to a cruise experience? Because a lot of people love cruising because it's easy, you unpack once. But what would you say to somebody who said that?
Well, they're quite different. So it's not, so the differences are you're not in the same place every night. But that's also one of the positive things, because you have an opportunity to go out and kind of explore. New Zealand is completely safe. It's clean. It's beautiful. All of the food is fabulous. You don't have the problem of worrying about eating the food, what you drink, and that sort of thing. But the variety and the landscapes, it's like visiting 15 national parks in the United States all at the same time. You have experiences from the ocean beach to the Alps and everything in between. The geothermal things. It's such a variety that within a few days, it's hard to get your head around.
I was going to say, Iceland has been such a popular destination, and those geothermal pools that you were showing, and that whole experience of seeing the waterfalls and the landscape and the geothermal, I think that's exactly what people are seeing in Iceland. And
Yeah.
yet you're getting so much more when you are in New Zealand.
Yes.
And that train pass experience. Okay. So I've done the Glacier Express in
Uh-huh.
Switzerland, and that gave me total Glacier Express vibes, just looking at
Yeah.
the train car, those windows that they had at the top to see all the scenery.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just when you said that it's like one of the most scenic things, I could absolutely picture sitting in that train car and just watching the most beautiful scenery go by. What a nice relaxing experience
Yeah.
that
And
is.
you're able to eat and drink while you go and relax and chat with your friends all the time. The most fabulous scenery and changing continually. So, so
We
much
brought
to
our cards and we sat and played cards and everybody go, "Oh, look at that. Look at that." And so we didn't get very far in our card game, but it was sure a fun way to travel. And so, I mean, you have bus, trains, boats, airplanes. This is kind of like that hits all the modes of transportation. I mean,
yeah,
you have the gondola
yeah.
experience. I mean, really, all you do need to add is the bungee jumping, and which New Zealand is the home of
That's
adrenaline
right. Yeah,
experiences.
yeah,
So, I would probably say come early, stay late, and go get your thrill on in one of those
yeah.
experiences. Um, Tim, what do you is the biggest difference do you think between the north and the south of New Zealand, the two different points?
Well, there's again such a variety. It's kind of like northern Utah versus southern Utah.
Okay.
I mean, it's a whole different world. So in the south, you've got the Alps, you've got glaciers, waterfalls, and in the north, you've got the geysers and the green, the low rolling hills.
Mhm.
It's a completely different experience. And the thing I love about this tour is you get to have all the cultural experiences too. So we have some experiences that you just can't have anywhere else, like the Middle Earth experience, but you also get these cultural experiences that are phenomenal, as
Right.
well as that variety in the
Of everything there in between. I was
yeah,
gonna say, I know that there's some people who go there on cruises and they try to get to Hobbiton, on their cruise, and sometimes they make it and sometimes they don't. And so I just think that that's really it's anybody who's taken a cruise, you know that you're only experiencing the port cities, that you're not getting into the real country.
yeah,
And then it's like, "Oh, wow, you can either check New Zealand off your list and say, okay, been there, done that, or you can really go and experience New
yeah,
Zealand, which is
yeah,
what this tour gives you."
yes, exactly.
So, going in October, what's the weather going to be like?
It's going to be beautiful. It's the spring, so it's and just beautiful. The flowers will be blooming. The weather will be fabulous. It'll be the prime time of year to go.
I think so as well. There's a reason that we picked that for you. I think one of the things with Morris Murdock Escorted Tours, we've been in business for over 65 years. We originated with our LDS, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter day Saints heritage. This tour, while we do, I think, get to see one or two of those temples, even if you're not a member of the church, I mean, there's how much significance is there going to be to a church member to somebody who maybe is not a member of the faith?
Well, I think it'll be significant either way. I've prepared quite a bit of resources for those who are Latter day Saints and want to know the history of the church in New Zealand. I have tons of resources on that. On the tour, we won't spend a great deal of time talking about that, but there are some marvelous, miraculous stories about the conversion of the Maoris, ancient Maori prophets, etc., that we'll mention along the way. This isn't really a religious tour, but what we find is many of our people traveling enjoy those highlights, even those who aren't members of the church, who love those little stories that kind of add the spice as we go along.
The personality, I think, is it brings so much in there. So,
Yeah,
well, I think this tour just looks absolutely spectacular, to take your
yeah,
word.
yeah.
Um, But this is because you do get to travel to so many great destinations. This is not a tour that you do every year.
No.
Chances are we probably won't do this tour with you again for at least another 5 years, because you've got so many other destinations that you travel to. We're excited that at this point, if you're I don't know when you're watching this, but this is March of 2025. We are kind of excited that Israel tours look to be restarting again this year. That'll be something else that'll be coming, as well as other destinations that you travel to. So, Tim,
Exactly.
thank you again for your time today, for this great presentation. Your slideshows are always so beautiful, and it just gives us a real taste of what this tour is going to be like. So thank you again. I hope that this was very informative to anybody who has either signed up already on this tour or considering it. It is a once in a lifetime experience, and I think you can safely say, Tim, that having this tour, you will have a in-depth experience with New Zealand, with the people, with the
Really.
culture, and the sites that it will fulfill every expectation.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, well, we hope that you will look at the website, take a look at this tour, and consider joining us this year. Um, and as well, our website has a lot of other tours and destinations that we would love for you to browse through. And we hope that you will be traveling with us soon. And with that, I'll say goodbye. Thank you so much, Tim. As always, thank you for the wonderful presentation, and happy and safe travels for everybody until we get to travel with you together.
Great to be with you.